Hi, welcome back to Family and Fit, where we talk fitness and how to integrate it in your busy lifestyle. So today we're going to be doing another poverty meal prep. We can't do a poverty meal prep out here. Let's take this thing to the kitchen. Alright, so today we're going to be doing like a Mexican style casserole dish, and this is one of the most simple meals that I've been doing here lately. Been doing these wings here, or actually chicken tenders, and basically what I've been doing is putting them in the pressure cooker / slow cooker, and I've been basically just mixing hot sauce with them just to make them super low calorie. I've been crashing this majority of the day, and then to be honest, I fill the rest of my macros with stuff that may not be quite as healthy, but overall my macros for the day are working out great. So if I was you and you're like getting into fitness, you definitely want to take this thing to the fullest. Get yourself a pressure cooker, because if you only have a slow cooker, then you're going to be limited a lot of times, because you may forget to put your meat on earlier in the day and rolls around and around dinner time, and then it's too late for you to put on something like this. You can take what generally takes 4 to 8 hours and crunch that down into a total of about 40 minutes to an hour and a half, which is a game changer when it comes to get some slow cooked meals very quick. The slow cooker, doing the slow cook setting still is better. The meat tends to be more moist, but yeah, it still works. And I would definitely go with the chicken tenderloins, just because that keeps it the most lean. Chicken breast works as well. I just like going this route because it's the most leanest choice, and I like to save my macros for other things. Say, for instance, if I want to put some cheese on it, just like I'm going to do exactly with this meal here. I'm going to add a bunch of other stuff to it to make it a little bit more macro friendly and make it taste quite a bit better. I'd rather have my fats coming from stuff like cheese than eating the fat of a chicken. I'm going to just dump these in here. By the way, if you're interested at all, this is an Instapot. That's what I've been using. This works really well. I got the biggest one you can get, but that's just because I do a lot of this stuff, and I'll meal prep my entire week off of this one time of cooking, and yeah, you can't beat that. So yeah. So yeah. Alright, y'all. So one thing that I do normally that I didn't do here is generally I'll make this way more simplistic, and I'll just make it with some cumin. Cumin's a very popular season with Mexican style dishes, or you could use stuff like fajita mixes, taco mixes, and what I used here is pico de gallo mix. Pico de gallo. It's pretty nice. Has like a nice kind of like tomatoey type of smell with a little bit of. It's still kind of got like that very natural like cumin type of scent to it, but it's a lot different. It's a little bit more like kind of tomatoey type of smell. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add a cup of water. Now we're going to put the lid on it. Something that you can do if you want to make this a little bit more poverty is not to put the seasoning in now, put the seasoning in later. What I noticed when you do it this way is you get a lot more of the seasonings marinated into the actual chicken, into the muscle fibers itself, versus if you just put it on at the end. But when you put it on at the end, you really can't tell, because it's going to end up being like a shredded type of chicken. It's not going to really be as noticeable with this type of dish. If you weren't going to cut these up or make these shredded or something like that, I would definitely recommend putting this in here before. The problem with putting the seasoning in before, though, is you're going to waste a lot of it, because you're going to pour it off with the water at the end. Another little trick. Y'all can't tell anybody this trick, because it may be frowned upon a little bit. What you can do with this when you're making this type of meal and making a casserole like I'm about to do is I have some leftover chicken like this in the fridge. You can take that leftover chicken and mix it in here. You can never tell the difference. And it's kind of like one of those things where like I'm probably not going to eat that chicken on its own anymore. It's been in the fridge too many days. But in a casserole, I won't even think about it, and it'll just help with that poverty meal prep thing, and utilizing some foods. That's good with any type of leftover, though. If you have any type of leftover, you can use it for like a casserole and do like some type of mixed meat, or like goulash, or just like make some crazy like off the wall type of meal like that, just to get rid of leftovers in your fridge that you're probably not going to eat if just out of the container or whatever. Maybe because it's been in there for too many days. So we're going to let this thing cook for probably about 12 hours, and then I'll get back with y'all. I could pressure cook it, but I'm not going to need to until later today. I'll slow cook it up until I get home. I'll probably run the pressure cooker cycle on it whenever I get home. That way I ensure that the chicken's cooked thoroughly. And at that point in time, it probably won't be 13 hours, but I'm going to do the 13-hour thing just in case I forget about it. It'll still continue to cook. But like I said, when I get home, I'll put it on pressure cooker. That way I can just make sure it's fully cooked, and then I can go ahead and let it cool off and start using it to make this casserole. Alright guys, so the chicken's done. First thing we're going to do here is we're going to take it and pour the water off. Alright, so from here you want to kind of let this thing cool off. One of the things that I will do instead of letting it cool off, because I'm really pressed for time, is I'm just going to throw the ingredients in this bowl, mix it up here before I make it into like a casserole. You really want to let it cool off because if you break apart the meat before it gets done steaming, all of the moisture will steam out of it and you'll have this really dry piece of meat. And chicken tenders are already very close to dry anyway, so you don't want to lose any extra. Something else you could do is put it in the refrigerator or freezer to help cool it down even faster. That'll help keep it moist longer as well. Also, doing the slow cooker versus the pressure cooker keeps it a little bit more moist. So if you've watched any of the other poverty meal prep, one of the main things with making these meal preps is to make sure that you're filling it with voluminous stuff. So one of the things we're going to start off with here is some leaf cut spinach, or cut leaf spinach, however you want to call it. So for each one of those bags of spinach, that added in 120 calories each, so that's 240 calories in spinach. But as you can see, it's almost about half the amount of volume. And on top of that, another huge thing with this is that the poverty meal preps, to be honest, a lot of them are super micro friendly. They may be really macro friendly, but you got to do things to kind of make sure you implement your macros in there as well, just to make sure you keep all your other hormone levels right, and just overall just stay healthy, have healthy skin, have healthy teeth. You just want to be healthy, because if you're not healthy, and even though you're hitting your macros right, it's going to show. It'll definitely show through. Alright, so here we're going to add about 1.5 blocks of this cream cheese. Depending on your macros, that'll kind of vary. Depending on the macros that you're trying to hit, will depend on how much cream cheese and stuff you can use. Obviously, the more cream cheese you use on this, the bomber the meal will be. Like I said, most of the time whenever I'm making this meal, what I've been making recently, I've literally been just taking the chicken tenders, putting some buffalo sauce in it, mixing it up, and maybe doing something like adding the spinach to it so that way it has some micros in it. So it's basically nothing but spinach, chicken, and like Frank's Red Hot sauce. Super simple, super macro friendly. You can essentially eat that for breakfast and lunch, and then from there you can eat ice cream for the rest of the day. I wouldn't suggest it, it's not the best I did, but it's an option. So with adding this cold product in here with this hot stuff, it's going to help cool this down, and it's also going to help bring the cold product to a higher temperature, so that way when we throw it in the oven it won't take as long to cook. Because essentially when you throw this thing in the oven, the only thing you're really trying to do is you're trying to get kind of everything to kind of boil a little bit, not necessarily boil, but you'll see it start bubbling. As far as that goes, you just want to get that nice little bubble that kind of help make the flavors marinate with each other. And then from there, the only other really thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some cheese to the top, and we're going to make sure that we get that cheese a little bit brown. So the same seasoning we used earlier, we're going to add this to it. We're going to add a bunch, just because you're not going to hardly taste any of this at all. That's one thing that's bad about casseroles. They consume a lot of seasoning because it takes so much to get any flavor out of it. And also, you know, this will be good with that fajita mix or taco mix. That's like a surefire way to make sure that you don't mess it up, because then you can have like a fajita casserole or something along those lines. And if y'all like Chipotle, this could be like kind of like a Chipotle bowl that's in a casserole style. You don't even have to use the cream cheese. You can just leave that out completely. But like I said, it's based on your macros and what you're trying to hit. I try to make these so they're solid meals, so I don't even have to track my macros at all. I'll track this one meal, see what the ratio is, and then I'll basically serving it out just by eye. I don't even really measure. I just know, okay, this is how much I got. I need to make this last me like 5 days for lunch. That's what my macros allow for. So we are going to be using the poverty beans. I would recommend that you get the dried kind and slow cook them and then add them in here. It's just the healthier route, but I got a bunch of this laying around, so I'm going to go ahead and use it. So I did get the beans rinsed out. Go ahead and throw these in there. Didn't rinse them out very well though. Another good thing to do that I didn't just do there would probably been to mix those other ingredients in before you mix the beans, just to kind of ensure that you don't make the beans into a paste. I'm gonna just grab a wooden spoon, start giving her a stir. Yeah, it's definitely a mistake on my part to add the beans before the chicken, because they're pretty much gonna be like mashed potatoes, but like refried beans basically. So I'm gonna go ahead and add 2 more cans of beans, just because the consistency of beans here is not very much. I don't know if you can see that there, but definitely has a nice cream cheese ratio to it. I kind of like to have like just a little sauce to it, not too much. I don't want it to be like, it's not supposed to be like a buffalo dip like they'd have a Super Bowl party or anything like that. It's just enough to give it a little bit of flavor, give it a little bit more moisture, help you with satiation due to consuming some fats. Throw in a little bit of salt. That was a lot. Pepper. So it takes a lot of seasoning. Almost use one of these on this. This is actually kind of one of the more pricier things of this, especially if you get like some of the expensive seasonings that are like, you know, $5, $7 a piece. You might end up going through a whole entire one to make one of these casseroles. A little bit of garlic as well. A little bit of Mrs. Dash. No Mrs. Dash. That garlic made it 110% better. I got the oven set on about 375. I'm going to throw these in the oven for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, depending. I'm just basically going to wait till I start to see them kind of like boil. As soon as I start to see like boil and bubbles in them, what I'll do there is I'll take them out and I'll throw the cheese on top. Alright y'all, so as I said before, I'm on my way to work. Time to pull these things out of the oven, add some cheese to them, put them back in there for like maybe 5-10 minutes, maybe put on broil if we want to do them really fast. That's the nice little, I don't know if you can see it. That's the bubble we're looking for. Go ahead and look for that little bit of a bubble. So realistically, this meal right here probably costs $20. That's at most, and this is definitely going to be enough for somebody to eat for a couple weeks. If you had a big family, I mean, you could probably feed like 10, 12 people with this for a meal, and you know, for $20 you can't beat that. Another little pro tip: if you are trying to watch your macros, but you just want to add some variety to the stuff, you can get protein cheese instead of just using regular cheese like I am. But my protein levels are going to be high enough with this, and also I'll probably do something like consume some protein shakes throughout the day. I generally like to boost my protein levels up pretty high in the beginning of the day, just to ensure that I get my levels up. Alright, so I used about a little over half a bag of cheese total, maybe 2/3 of a bag. I'm going to throw these things back in the oven, and I'll check back in with you whenever I'm taste testing this thing.